Leon the Chameleon's Colorful Journey. Far, far away from here, in the big woods, there was a very big building with big black walls. This big building is the orphanage where Leon the Chameleon lives, with a lot of other chameleons. All the other chameleons run around, climb onto the walls and the ceilings, and change colors to whatever it is they are sitting on. When they sit on a yellow wall, their skin becomes yellow. When they sit in the green leaves outside in the garden, their skin becomes green. And when they lay down on the red petals, their skin is just as red as the pebbles are. One of the chameleons is Leon's girlfriend, Jelena. But Leon and Jelena are a bit different than all other chameleons. Leon is colorblind. That means that he cannot see any color. Everything is in shades of grey to him. He does not see the yellow walls, the green leaves, or the red petals. Whenever he sits somewhere, his body turns all kinds of other colors, but never the color he is supposed to be. And little Jelena was born without any legs, so she rides around with wheels instead of legs. Even though they are not perfect, Leon and Jelena are in love. But all the other chameleons do not like Leon and Jelena and pick on them because they are different. They push Jelena around and they make fun of Leon's different colors. Jelena cannot climb walls with the rest of the chameleons, and Leon always gets it wrong in color practice class. Even the teachers in the orphanage are not nice to them, the poor little things. One day, when all of the other chameleons were picking on Leon and Jelena again for being different, Jelena started crying and she said to Leon, "I want to go away from here. Let's escape. Let's go away from here, together. Let's go and discover the world." But Leon and Jelena knew that outside of the orphanage there is a big black wall that keeps all the orphans in and the world out. The teachers always tell them that the world outside is a bad place, but Leon and Jelena can never imagine that it would be worse than inside the gate. But then, Leon jumped up because he had a great idea and told it to Jelena. "Somewhere behind the big brown oak tree there should be a small tunnel through the black wall. Let's go there tonight. Let's escape tonight." That night, when the sun was down, Leon and Jelena go outside of the orphanage and sneak to the wall. They had to be very silent because no one else can find out that they want to leave, since it is forbidden to go outside of the orphanage. With Jelena's wheel squeaking and Leon's color changing from green to red to yellow to blue, they reach the tunnel in the wall. Leon sticks his head in and slowly, bit by bit, he crawls through the black tunnel. Outside, he looks back into the tunnel and whispers Jelena's name. He hears her crying softly, and she says, "Leon, wait, my wheels do not fit through the hole in the wall." Suddenly, a bright light shoots through the tunnel and loud voices yell. "Run, Jelena," tells him. "The teachers found out that we were trying to escape." "Jelena, Jelena," cries Leon with tears in his eyes. Jelena cries softly and says, "Run, Leon." And just before running away, Leon sticks his head into the tunnel and says, "I love you, Jelena. I will come back for you." And then Leon turns around and walks off into the dark night, into all of the things he has never seen before. Boris the Bear. The next morning, Leon wakes up, rolled up into a small ball, lying on some leaves under a big tree in the forest. Everything looks scary, the little bit of light coming through the thick roof of leaves above him, shadows in the bushes and crisping things all around him. His stomach rumbles for breakfast, and his dry mouth longs for some water. Somewhere in the distance, Leon sees a bit more light and starts running there, stumbling over the dead sticks on the forest ground. He hears howling in the distance, little animals whispering to him from the shadows, and with every sound his colors change faster and faster and faster until his body is colored like a dancing rainbow. Every crack and every hiss makes his feet move faster towards the light and towards the bright green field in the middle of the forest. Finally, his feet feel the soft grass again, and he lays down on the grass, licking the wet morning dew off of the grass around him. It is sweet water, nothing like the bad brown water he always got in the orphanage. His mouth does not feel dry anymore, and he closes his eyes just for a second. He sees Leona, and the way she smiles, and how much she wanted to leave with him. His stomach hurts, and it is not only because of the hunger. He opens his eyes, and when he sits up to look around, he sees smoke coming from across the field. He gets up to get a better look, and he sees a small round house, shaped like a ball, pushed into the ground halfway. The closer he walks, the taller the smoke gets, and the bigger the house becomes. Slowly his nose is filled with the air of fresh bread and wood under an oven. Lean sees a big door, a bigger one than he has ever seen, leading into the house. He sneaks towards the edge, and when he sticks his head around the corner, he sees the biggest animal he has ever seen. More than 100 times bigger than Lean is, a huge brown animal stands in front of the biggest oven he has ever seen. His body is covered in thick layers of soft brown fur, and his snout has a black nose in between his eyes. He hears it breathing heavily and slowly while taking out 4 huge breads outside of the oven. Suddenly the animal stands still and lowers his head and looks right at Leon. "You can come in," he says, with his big black nose. Leon jumps up and hides behind the corner, shivering of fear. "Do not be afraid," the animal says. "You can have some bread if you would like." "Are you hungry, my little friend?" Leon sticks his head around the corner and sees the animal standing there, smiling at him. "My name is Boris," he tells him, "and I am a bear. What is your name?" Leon slowly walks towards Boris the bear, since his stomach is rumbling and the smell of bread tickles his nose. Leon looks at him and whispers softly, "My name is Leon, and I am a—" "Speak louder, my little friend. I cannot hear you when you talk that softly." Boris the bear says to him with a big smile, "I cannot hear you, since you are small and I am so big. I am sorry, but I cannot help you." Leon looked at the ground. Boris could not hear him, almost like no one back in the orphanage seemed to listen to him. Leon was too small, too soft, and too different. He looked outside at the 2 leaves dancing in the wind and in the orange light of the sun. Then he got an idea and started running back into the field, jumping over the grass. He stopped when he found a big green leaf and picked it up. He looked at it very closely, studying the shape and figure. Then he rolled it up in his hands until it looked like a big horn. With the horn in his hands, he runs back into the house. Leon looks up at Boris the bear and scrapes his throat and started talking with the small end of the horn on his lips. "Leon is my name, and I am a chameleon. I come from the orphanage behind the woods. My girlfriend is still in there, and I promised that I would come back for her, but now I am not sure how. Can you maybe help me?" He spoke through the leaf, and his voice became so loud and clear that no one wouldn't be able to hear him, not even in the orphanage. Boris the bear takes a big breath and looks up thinking. Boris growls softly. "Now I can hear you. I wish I could, my little friend, but my bakery will not make any breads without me, since I am the only one big enough to work with this oven." Leon looks down sad. "But," Boris the bear says, "I can give you some bread for free for your journey if you'd like. You look hungry, and there's a long way to go if you want to leave the forest today." Leon smiles at him and says, "Yes, I would like that. And do you really think of me as your little friend?" Boris holds his big furry stomach while he laughs out loud. "Of course I do, my little friend. I will pack you some bread, milk, and honey." Bear gets back up and breaks off a little piece of the enormous breads and packs it along with the milk and honey. He sits down and his huge paws hand the little pack over to Leon. "Which way do I go?" Leon asks. "Walk towards the big black mountain there," Boris the bear says, while he points at the big black pointy thing far behind the trees. "I think there might be someone there who might be able to help you." Leon looks back at Boris and smiles at him. "Thank you, Boris." "You're welcome," Bear says to him, smiling. After that, Leon turns around and starts walking to the big black mountain. That day, the sun is out, and during the day the forest is beautiful outside, and not even a bit scary. There are still the whispers in the leaves around him, but now he sees the ants carrying their sticks, and the lovebirds counting their spots. They wave at Leon when he passes by with his pack, and he waves back at them. Betsy the Bat. That afternoon he sits down on a big rock in the sun and eats his bread while the butterflies fly in pretty circles above his head. His stomach does not rumble anymore, and in the sun he falls asleep again. In his dreams he sees Jelena rolling around him and asking him where he is. And she tells him she misses him. He misses her too, and he tries to walk to give her a hug. But just before he can reach out to him, he wakes up. Leon looks up, and the butterflies have flown away, and the sun is slowly going down. The big black mountain towers over the trees, and it should not be far anymore. Leon gets up and starts walking, a little faster than he did during the day. The whispers in the bushes are back again, and in the almost dark he can't quite figure out what it is anymore. Leon starts running towards the big black mountain, and the faster he runs, the less trees there are around him. He runs until he is at a big field with bushes, just on the foot of the big black mountain. In the distance there seems to be a small light, flickering, and it looks like it's coming from inside the big black mountain. He walks towards the small flickering light, through the black fields while the bugs buzz around his head. Suddenly he hears a high squeaking sound, and a black flash shoots past him. Leon falls on the ground and covers his head with his hands. His body changes from color to color while he lays on the dark ground. He looks up, and the only thing he sees now are the bugs buzzing in the moonlight. Just before he gets up again, the black flash shoots across his head again. This time it's not one flash, but it's 2, 3, 4, 5. The sky above his head is filled with squeaking sounds and black flashes. Leon takes a deep breath, and scared as he is, he jumps up and starts running towards the flickering light from inside the mountain. While he runs over the field as hard as he can see the black flashes shoot past him. His heart bounces in his chest, and the light is getting closer. He runs, and when he gets closer to the light, he sees that it is coming from inside a big cave in the big black mountain. He runs in, and the stones under his feet are wet, and water is dripping from the ceiling. Inside the cave it is almost dark, until the flickering light goes out, and around him is darkness. He sits down and holds his knees with his hands while he looks up. His eyes get used to the darkness, and he hears soft squeaking above his head coming from the ceiling. His heart races, and he sits there shivering. And his heart almost stops when he sees it. On the entire ceiling, the black flashes are hanging there, and their tiny white eyes are looking at him. Leon drops to his back, and his eyes open wide to the ceiling, and all of a sudden all the black flashes drop and flap their wings with their voices squeaky. Leon rolls over, with his stomach to the ground, and wishes he was back with Jelena. But then he feels a hand grabbing his shoulder, and he is lifted off the ground. He tries to put his feet on the ground, but the ground gets further and further away from him. "Let me go, please!" Leon shouts out. "I don't think that would be a good idea," the Black Flash says. "I saw you running outside on the field, and you looked a bit lost. I thought I could help you for a little bit. Are you tired or not? It's almost midnight now." Leon looks up, and now he sees what is carrying him up in the air. The animal has the body a little bigger than his, with short fur on his body, and in big black wings instead of arms. "Yes, I'm tired, but who are you?" "Oh, I am terribly sorry. My name is Betsy. I am a bat, and I live here in a cave with my 5 children and the rest of the bats of the woods. I was just going out for a quick snack for the kids when I saw you again. Would you like to stay with us, at least for tonight? You looked quite lonely and scared down there, and I have some space for you to sleep under my wings." Leon got used to flying now, and he quite liked the fresh air under his feet. His skin turned into the most beautiful colors while he answered, "I would like to sleep somewhere warm tonight." And then he looked up to the stars and thought of his girlfriend in the orphanage again. His eyes filled up with tears. "Oh, my sweet little boy, what is wrong?" Betsy the bat asked him sweetly. "Oh, I do miss my girlfriend quite a lot. See, I escaped from the orphanage where I was with my girlfriend, but only I escaped, and just before she could, they caught her, and now she is still there, and I need to find a way to get her out. But I just do not know how. Could you maybe help me?" Betsy flew with Leon under the night sky, and she thought deep and hard. She whispered. "I wish I could, but my children are too young to leave them, and they need someone to get them food, to take them to school, and to help them play." Again Leon's eyes filled up with tears. "Oh, my dear, I am so sorry. I wish I could help you," Betsy tells him. "It is just that I don't know how to get her out too," Leon cries. "I wish I knew how." "Everything is going to be all right, I promise," Betsy tells him. Betsy and Leon see the ground coming closer, while Betsy the bat flies with Leon back to the cave. In the cave it's cold, but after Leon hugs Betsy, she closes her wings. "Maybe I know someone who might be able to help you. I will tell you how to find him in the morning." "Thank you, Betsy," Leon whispered. "I think I am already going to sleep now. Where's your bed?" "Bed? We don't have any bed, sweet little boy," Betsy said, and she smiled at him. "We hang from the ceiling, upside down." "But I do not think I can sleep upside down. I always sleep in a bed, or at least on the floor, but never from the ceiling. I do not think I can sleep like that." Leon spoke softly and a bit shy. "Well, you have never tried it, and I think you might enjoy it. Change is good sometimes, and doing something that is different is even better for you. And even if you do not like it, trying is always better than just thinking you won't be able to do it. You will be great." And those words made sure that Leon would try. "So being different is good?" Leon asked. "Yes, my little boy. Being different is something amazing." "Thank you, Betsy," Leon whispered. Then he snuggled under her wings and closed his eyes. The next morning, Leon woke up, upside down and hanging from the ceiling. Around him, the other bats were still sleeping, and he could hear the soft drops of water falling from the ceiling onto the ground. Right next to him, there was a big drop of water hanging, and almost falling off. The drop got bigger and bigger, and he could see his own reflection in the drop. He saw his face, and the grey colors of his body in Betsy's wings. He looked at himself in the water drop, and he looked himself in the eyes. All of a sudden, the face in the water drop started changing, and there she was, Jelena. She smiled at him, and he could see her lips moving. Do not worry, I'm still here. I'll wait for you, Lean. That I promise. Lean's eyes filled up with tears, and he leaned forward to kiss Leona. Before his lips could touch, the drop of water with the reflection in it fell down from the ceiling. Splash! He heard the drop fall on the ground, and Lean could not keep his eyes off of the small wet spot on the cave's floor, hoping that he would see Leona's face again. Betsy breathed in deeply and opened her eyes. She yawned and looked at Lean. Good morning, my sweet little boy. Did you sleep well? Betsy smiled at him, and she yawned again. Lean, just after you fell asleep last night, I discussed your problem with a few friends of mine, and I might have an idea for you. Maybe I know someone who might be able to help you, my little boy. Lean looked at Betsy and asked her, Can you take me there? And Betsy smiled and nodded at him. Of course I will, my dear. Betsy let go of the ceiling, and while Lean held on to her, she flew off. High above the clouds they flew, with the orange sun coming up. Betsy, who is that you are taking me to? It is a friend of mine. Well, not really of my friend, our friend. Whenever we have a problem, we fly to him. He lives in a hut on the fields. I know that his name is Justus, but I'm not really sure what kind of animal it is. He kind of looks like a cow, but with a long white fur. Anyway, you can see for yourself. We are almost there. See the green field over there with the huts? Betsy asked him and pointed at the green spot under the clouds, with little grey houses that almost looked like grey dots. That is where Justus lives. Do not take everything too serious that he says. It is a lot of nonsense. But if you listen carefully, you might learn a thing or two. I will drop you off in the village, and you have to walk the last little bit. Flying animals scare him a little bit. I have always wondered why. Betsy squeaked, and her wings flapped while she dropped down towards the green fields under the clouds. A little bit above the ground, Betsy slowed down and landed on a tree. Lean climbed off of her and held on to a tree branch next to Betsy. Betsy looked at him and started talking. I think he might be able to help you. He is great, even though he's a bit weird. He is a bit of an outcast. What is an outcast, Betsy? Lean asked. Well, Betsy explained, an outcast is someone who isn't liked by everyone else. They stay a bit to themselves, and they usually feel a bit different than the rest. Just like me, you mean? Lean asked Betsy. She smiled at him. Yes, a bit like you. Lean smiled back at her. So I just walk into the village and ask around for Justus, right? And he pointed to the grey huts on the field. Yes, that should work. Good luck, my sweet little boy. I hope you can rescue your girlfriend. And if you do, please come visit us. I will make some beds for you too. Bye now. After Betsy told him that, they hugged. Lean climbed down the tree and walked down the grey pebble road towards the huts. When he walked into the village, he saw the animals that were living in the huts. The huts themselves were round, with a small pointy roof. The walls were made from blankets, sticks and ropes. From the inside, he could hear the heavy breathing of big animals, even bigger than cows. Their hair was long, with a big pink nose and tall pointy horns. He stepped into the hut where a big cow-like animal stood, with long, greyish hair. Justus, the yak. Excuse me, sir, I am looking for Justus, Lean asked, polite. Do you know where to find him? The animal snored. Justus, the crazy yak. What do you need from him? I would like to talk to him, sir, and if you don't mind me asking, what is a yak? We are yaks, that is our name, and Justus is a bit of a weird yak. If you really need to find him, he lives at the end of the road. You will recognize his house easily, with all of the strange colors. Thank you, sir. Have a good day. Lean thanked him and walked outside, down the pebble road and towards the colorful house at the end of the road. The closer he got, the more he started noticing about the house. It was round as well, but it was painted in the most beautiful colors. Outside the house there were a lot of statues of all kinds of things and shapes. There was a bell ringing softly as it swayed in the wind, and he could hear someone singing. He walked up to the house and looked inside. There was no one there, but he could hear the singing coming from somewhere inside. There was a blanket laying over something, but Lean couldn't quite figure out what it was. Ooh la la, I wish I was a bird, and I could fly away. There was a man hanging on a rope who sang of golden pigeon wings. Oh, how I wish I was a mermaid. Now Lean was sure. The singing came from underneath the blanket. Hello? Lean asked. No reply. Hello, Justus? Lean tried again. All of a sudden, the blanket moved. It was pushed aside by something, and then Lean saw it. A big head came from under the blankets, with a pale white fur, a big pink nose, and friendly eyes. You was calling for me? Justus the Yak asked. Well, yes, sir, it is. Oh, do not call me sir, Justus exclaimed. It makes me itchy when someone calls me sir. You may call me Awesome Yak, or Mr. Yak Awesome, or just as if you like. Talking about like, would you like some chocolate? I do not have any. I was just wondering if you would like any. What would you like? Justus the Yak looked at Lean. Lean looked at him, not sure what to think, and then spoke to Justus. Well, Justus, this is the problem. Me and my girlfriend lived in an orphanage, and we tried to escape, since all the other chameleons were picking on us. But only I escaped. She is still trapped in there, and I was just at Betsy the Bat, and she told me you might be able to help you with that, Lean explained. Well, help, I am not sure. I do not really help. I can barely help myself. What can we do is just sit here for a while and think about what we might do, Justus told him, with his hands moving, like he's painting a picture in the air. Come sit with me here, my friend. Do you mind if I call you friend? I think we should be friends. I would like that. You're my friend too, if I may say so. Lean smiled at him and sat down next to Justus the Yak. Justus sat down with his legs crossed. He closed his eyes and took deep breaths. Try this. It will relax you. We might just get some good ideas after that. Lean crossed his legs and took a deep breath. It felt good, and immediately he felt calmer than he did before. He felt like he was sinking in the couch and under the blanket. Lean smiled, and he felt like taking a nap. Justus started singing again, and it sounded like the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. Lean laid on his back, and Justus lay down next to him. They stared at the ceiling, where small dots of lights were playing. The smoke still hung in the room, and the light shone through the door and made the little bits of dust shine like angel dust. Lean started dreaming, with his eyes wide open. He flew through the sky, and he heard flapping of big strong wings. The only thing he saw was white feathers, and a forest down under the clouds. And there it was, the orphanage, with the big black wall around him. Jelena was standing there, smiling and waving at him with her wheels. She looked more beautiful than in his memory, and he tried to land. Then the orphanage faded away, and he saw Justus again, lying next to him. Would you like a drink? I am thoroughly thirsty now, are you? Lean felt his mouth, and it was dry as the desert. Yes, please, I would like some. Justus gave him a sip of his drink, and it was sweet and tasted like honey. The colors in the hut were moving around, and the bell outside in the wind rang beautiful. Do you know what to do yet? Justus asked him. Well, Lean said, I think I did see something that could help me. Jelena is behind a big wall, and I am too short to get over it. But what if we found someone who could help me, who is big enough, like a bird? Do you know anyone? Justus looked at him with his friendly face, and his eyes were almost closed when he said, "When you need wings, you will need wind. When you need wind, you will need to make some wind. Cool?" That did not make any sense, Lean told Justus, smiling. Justus jumped up and looked at Lean with a big smile. "We need to build a flying machine. Then we will fly there and get her back. I might have some parts left from the hamburger machine I made a few weeks back." "Did it work?" Lean asked. "No, but it was a lot of fun." Justus smiled back at him, and they walked outside and towards a small hut behind his living hut. He picked up an umbrella, an old bicycle, some boat pedals, and a small wooden bench. He and Lean started putting the parts together, and after a few hours of work, they made a machine where they both could sit in. They used the bicycle to make pedals for their flying device made of the umbrella and the pedals. They pushed it up a hill and sat down. Justus counted. 3, 2, 1, go! Their legs moved the pedals as fast as they could, and their flying machine started working. He felt the ground moving away from him. They kept their pedals moving, and they got up until he heard a big bang coming from the device, and the umbrella sizzled and broke down. Lean and Justus dropped down in their machine and fell down on the ground. The machine broke in 1,000 pieces. Lean looked at Justus, who could not stop laughing. "What is so funny?" Lean asked. "Well, friend, it is okay. It's no problem if you fail sometimes, as long as you do not give up." Lean thought about it, and it was true. So it is okay if something does not work out, just as long as I keep trying. Justus smiled at him. "Yes, my friend, that is true." "Let me think, my friend. I might know someone else who might help you. A big bird, a pelican. Do you know pelicans? They have huge beaks, very friendly though. The only problem is that I have not seen him flying around lately. He just walks everywhere. His name is Paul, and he lives on the cliffs. It is less than a day. I think you can make it if you start walking quickly. I will miss you though. I've never met anyone who's just as different as I am. I think this could be a start of a beautiful friendship, Lean." Lean smiled at him. "I wish I could stay a bit longer once I have rescued Jelena. I promise to come back and spend some more time with you. I'm sure that you will like her." "I would like that," Justus replied. "No, let me show you how to get to the cliffs." He picked Lean up and put him on his shoulder and walked outside. They kept talking while they walked away from the village and towards the distant cliffs. After 2 hours of walking, they arrived at a small patch of grass and bushes. "I cannot take you any farther. The bushes will sting my eyes, and you're just small enough to walk through them without being hurt," Justus told him. "Good luck, my friend," he added. "I will see you soon." The big Justus and the small Lean hugged, and then Lean waved and started walking through the bushes. Lean crawled and crawled, avoiding the bushes and their spikes, until he heard buzzing. Monsieur Bumbley. "Sir," Lean heard someone shouting. "Please come here, let me look at you." The buzzing sound got louder, and from the bushes a small animal came flying towards him. It was an insect, with a round body striped in black and yellow, black and yellow. "Oh, sir, you are beautiful! Look at those colors!" the animal exclaimed. "Who are you?" Lean asked. "My name is Monsieur Bumbley, and I am a bumblebee." Monsieur Bumblebee told him, "You might just be the most beautiful animal I have ever seen." Lean blushed, and his entire body turned pink. "No, I'm not," Lean told him. "I am a horrible chameleon, since I am colorblind. I can't make the right colors." "But sir," Monsieur said, "please let me paint you. I have never seen anyone with your colors. You are something special. I am a painter, and your painting will be the prettiest I have ever made. It won't take long. Just wait here. I will get my stuff. A minute, please." Lean felt a bit embarrassed. No one has ever told him something like that. "I'll wait, Monsieur, but I don't have much time. I have to go to Paul Pelican, quickly. I know where to find him. I will fly you there after the painting. Is that okay? Monsieur asked him. Leon nodded, and Monsieur flew away. Within a minute, he came back with a big white screen and paint. Just stand there like you do now. That's beautiful. But I am not beautiful. Everyone back in the orphanage says that I am ugly. Leon told him. I cannot even get the right colors. But no, my beautiful boy. I have never seen someone who is so different as you. And I have seen a lot of chameleons back in my time. But no one as special as you. The old bumblebee smiled at him. And then Leon saw himself in the mirror. His colors were beautiful, and indeed like no other animal he saw on his journey. Maybe being a little bit different was quite good, and he smiled back, proud of himself in the mirror. Leon stood still and waiting for Monsieur to finish the painting. He thought about Leona and that he might see her again soon. In his memory he hugged her, and he couldn't wait for the memory to be real. Minutes passed by, and then Monsieur looked up. Finished, he told Leon, and he turned the painting around. Leon had never seen himself as he did when Monsieur turned around the picture. He saw his colors, with their beautiful patterns, and his big white eyes looking at himself in the picture. Beautiful, Leon told him, amazed by the picture. Thank you so much, Monsieur Bumblebee told him. I can take you to Paul if you like. Leon nodded, and Monsieur Bumblebee stood up, and his wings started buzzing, and he grabbed Leon by the shoulders and flew off, over the bushes to the cliff. There it is, shouted Monsieur Bumblebee, and he pointed to a wooden nest on the edge of the cliff. They flew closer, and they landed in the nest. It was empty. Just wait here, he'll be back, Monsieur told him. Thank you, Monsieur. Thank you very much, Leon told him and smiled. Bye now. Monsieur waved at him and took off again. Leon sat down in the nest and dozed off and fell in a deep sleep. Leon was tired, and maybe even slept for hours. All of a sudden, he woke up to a squeaking sound. Paul the Pelican. Who are you? Someone yelled. Leon opened his eyes, and there he was, a big white bird like in his dreams at Justus' house. With a huge beak, on his head was a flying helmet with glasses on his eyes for protection when flying. Oh, I am sorry. My name is Leon. I was sent here by Justus. He told me you might be able to help me. My girlfriend is locked up in an orphanage behind the forest, and the walls are too tall for me to climb over. And I was hoping that you could fly me there to rescue her, please. Pelican Paul shook his head. I am sorry, little one. I can't fly. I wish I could help you. But, Leon said desperate, you are a bird. Please, why cannot you fly? Paul looked at him and spoke softly. I am afraid. Once I fly away, I get scared and might close my eyes. I always fly into trees or worse, and you might get hurt. Sorry, little one. Leon looked at him, and then the idea came. What if I am your eyes? That you fly, and I will keep my eyes open and tell you where to go. I trust you. You can do it. I really trust you. Are you sure? Paul asked him. Yes, I am sure, Leon said while he smiled at him. Let's go. Leon climbed on his back and whistled to Paul. Fly, fly. And then they took off. Paul jumped off of the cliffs and flew down incredibly fast. Leon thought they would crash, and Leon yelled, Up, up, up! Paul flew up, and from that moment Leon steered him over the bushes, the fields, the caves, and the forest. After flying for hours, they finally saw the big black wall around the orphanage. Yes, there it is, Leon yelled. Down, slowly down. Leon's skin turned white, just as the feathers were. His heart raced in his chest, and the orphanage got bigger and bigger. They got so close that Leon could see all the mean others from far away. They finally got close enough to land within the big black wall. All the mean chameleons ran away, scared of the big white bird. "Land there," Lean told Paul. "Aye, aye," he replied. Lean and Paul landed within the walls, and Lean jumped off his back. All of the other chameleons ran away and hid behind the bushes and in trees. "Leona, Leona," he shouted, and ran around looking for her. Then he finally heard it, and his heart jumped in his chest. From behind the trees he could hear the squeaking of the wheels. "Leon?" she asked. "Leona, yes, I am here, don't be afraid. I am here to help you." Leona came running from behind the trees, with her wheels rumbling over the dirt. They hugged, and they even cried a little bit of happiness. "Come with me. We'll fly away with my new friend Paul." Leon helped Leona on the back of Paul. "Hello, Leona. My name is Paul, and your boyfriend is the best pilot I have ever had. Don't worry, it's all safe." Then Leon looks at all the other kids that used to pick on him back when he was in the orphanage. They looked at him scared, at the same way as he looked at them before his escape. Leon stood up and looked at the others. "Everyone, do not be afraid. I left, and I came back for my girlfriend, and there is nothing that you can do about it. The only thing that I would like to say is that it is good outside. It is different. It is special. We will open the gates if you leave. A whole new world will open to you. New friends, new things, new places. Don't be scared now." All of the chameleons looked at him and listened to him in silence. Leon smiled and waved at him and told Paul to open the gate on their way out. Leona kissed Leon and looked at Paul. "Nice to meet you, Paul. I cannot thank you enough." Leona smiled at him with the sweetest smile she had. "Come, Leon, let's fly away." Leon climbed on his back as well and gave Leona a little kiss. "Leona, I would like you to meet some friends of mine," and he smiled at her. "You will like them, I promise." "I trust you," Leona told him, "and I love you." They smiled, and Paul took off and kicking down the gate on his way out. Leon looked back at the orphanage, and he saw the other chameleons running out, smiling and waving at him. Leon felt proud, and high above the clouds, Leon gave her a kiss. "I missed you more than I could, and I love you too." Copyright protected by the NHTV in Breda. We would like to thank Arleen Cuevas, the NHTV and Productionhouse for making this book possible.